So not just beginning tips for Instagrammers, I guess, more so now let's dive into tips for beginner photography.
Yeah. Well, like I said, photography is not just about taking photos, especially if you want to make it into a business. There is the whole business side of things. And somebody once said to me, and I think it rings true, you don't have to be a good photographer to run a successful photography business. I know tons of photographers who get tons of clients. I don't know how, and they take, in my opinion, maybe not the greatest photos. So I think don't worry about what other people are doing. Don't worry about how you compare yourself to other people. Practice, practice, practice. Don't expect to make a lot of money for quite a long time, because you probably won't, because everybody has a camera now and everybody can take photos and thinks that they're a photographer. And I would say just practice. Try not to let it get to your head, other people's work. Even me, I still struggle. I see other people's photos and I think to myself, wow, that's such an incredible photo. Like, I wish my work looked like that. And I have to remind myself that, there's a following of people that actually do like my work and they like what I post. So don't lose yourself in other people's photos, and just work hard. Practice every day. If you can take photos every day for a year, it's like playing guitar or anything else. If you're doing it every day for a year, then you will see significant increase in your skill.
I think one important thing you touch on too is with being good at business is some people think that the art is enough to carry them and get them clients, which it can to a very small extent, but a big part of it, like you said, is being big at business. Yeah. And of course, obviously, like, the quality is still important. Even if you're good at business, like, you still need to know what you're doing and produce good content. But I agree 100%.
Yeah, I think the art can carry you, but the problem with that is that your art needs to be better than anybody else's out there. So if you're just, the average photographer, and again, I don't look at my work and think it's like amazing. I'm the same as, Jim Joe down the street. Like, everybody takes good photos. Architect takes good photos. Kerbins takes good photos. Joey Kidney takes good photos. Like, they're all good. I'm in no way, I don't want to say not unique, but it's not like anybody else can't do what I'm doing. I hate to say it because it kind of hurts a little bit, but it's the truth. If your art is carrying you solely your photos, you need to have something that nobody else has. Brandon Wolfell had that. Samuel Elkins had that. You need to have your own thing. And it's so hard nowadays to find your own thing. So I think that it's much more manageable to be a really good photographer and have your art definitely help. But you definitely need to be good at business too.
No, I agree. 100%. And then what about gear for beginner photographers? Where do you land on gear? Because I feel like people stress so much about what camera they're using.
Yeah. As somebody who spent a lot of money on gear and regrets it 100%.
Oh, really?
No, not regrets it. I would say, like, I have a full kit. I have a pro camera. I have all the lenses I could possibly need. I don't need anything else. That being said, for most instances, I use 2 lenses and I have like 8. So I would say buy a full frame camera. If you're a beginner, buy a full frame camera and buy like a Sigma lens. Sigma makes really good art lenses. They're pro level gear, but like a third of the price. So I would say those 2 things. I am a firm believer of raising to the level of your gear. I think it's hard to grow on like a Rebel T3i because it's so limiting. I think if you have the possibilities, you'll explore them and you'll in turn become a better photographer. So I think buy a semi-pro camera or a pro camera if you're really, really serious about getting into it. That investment right there should push you to work harder because now you've spent $4,000. And buy a good Sigma lens. They're cheap and they're cheap. They're about $1,000. So they're cheap for pro level stuff, but they're amazing. And I would say that's really all you need. Maybe like a 35 millimeter lens is probably all you need just to start. Depends on what you're taking photos of too. If you're taking photos of events, then you might want a 24-70, but that's going to cost a couple thousand. But I think in terms of gear, it's definitely nice to have a lot of gear, but you don't need it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think I hear a lot of people too is like gear doesn't matter, but it does play into an extent. Like,
yeah, totally.
Like just an example, like I was shooting inside a hockey rink last week, and I have just this camera here, so I can't get it very bright without it being extremely like noisy, like the amount of like fuzz in there. But then like the other photographer like almost like kind of to brag to me, showing me his pictures, and they're like great, nothing, just because his gear can get
handle
more light in it. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas mine can't. So I hear so often that gear doesn't matter. It does to an extent. Like I totally understand where people are coming from when they say it doesn't matter, but I think I agree like with like what you're saying is I think it matters. And to your point, if you're getting that good gear, it will motivate you more because you've made that investment. Yeah.
And it allows you to explore the options. Like you said, like having amateur gear is very limiting. And having pro gear, you have all these options that you can explore and kind of get to know a lot better. But I think, you know, if you shot a wedding with a Rebel T3i, it would be dangerous. You only have one card slot in there. Like if something goes wrong, that's not good. You will ruin your reputation for the rest of your career if you shot on a Rebel T3i and something went wrong. For the rest of your career, you will never recover from that. So I think having good gear is important if you're going to do this professionally. You do not, however, need every single piece of gear, every single lens, every single camera. I've made that mistake. It is what it is. I use them a lot actually, but that's because I try to range a lot of different types of photographs. So, but you definitely don't need it all, especially when you're first starting out.
That's fair.
Yeah.